You saw The Naked Gun. Yes, the new one, 2025. Akiva Schaffer, Naked Gun. You've seen the film.
Yes, I have.
Good time at the theater.
Extremely good time. The theater I was in was full of a lot of people having a really fun time watching the movie. So
Yeah, I mean, it's still early. Like, I don't know box office numbers and things like that, but word of mouth seems to be really good. Obviously, the Rotten Tomato score made a lot of headlines because it's significantly higher than people were expecting. I should say, I also saw the movie, took the family. We all had a great time. I'm not gonna try to like rank it amongst the original films or whatever. That's not really the point, but I will say, like, it feels so much of a piece. Like, it fits right alongside the classic humor and style you would expect, but in the year 2025, it was great. Like, I think there's nothing more I would have wanted from that movie.
yeah, I mean, it was basically exactly what I wanted it to be. I had a really, just that mile a minute, or just joke a minute type stuff, like, and even more
Yeah.
than that, like that kind of thing where, like, even if every joke doesn't hit, it doesn't really matter because another one's coming. And
I really,
I like,
someone's got to do the math when that's like on streaming or whatever, like the jokes per minute. It's so insanely high. And I bet I didn't even catch them all. Like, I know there's background stuff.
oh yeah,
And stuff that like I didn't get. So that'll be fun for someone to dissect. I'm not gonna do the math, but someone will do that.
it looks like the weekend take right now is 17 million, which is just American, I think. Yeah, worldwide right now it's at about 28.5 million off a budget of 42, so it'll probably be profitable. I hope the word of mouth helps it. Word of mouth has not, like, Fantastic Four is still doing pretty well, but it's taking like an 80% drop its second weekend. Like,
Yeah, it had a great opening weekend, but like the legs don't look like they're there.
It's a little bit suffering the Thunderbolts a bit, where, like, there was positive word of mouth and it did pretty well, but I mean, still, Fantastic Four is at 368 million worldwide right now, so, like, even if it only gets to about 500, that's still.
I mean, they want $1 billion, like, though. This is like
they wanted $1 billion.
Yeah, I wonder if people know that movie is like entirely self-contained. Like, I wonder if the marketing got that across. Like, you could have seen zero MCU movies and miss nothing.
I think what we're seeing is a very interesting thing, because I think in a way we're watching a very real time. I think this is a situation where, like, cool, Disney has made it clear that if it's a Marvel movie, you can wait for Disney Plus. Like, I think that is definitely a factor in why Marvel/Disney movies generally struggle now, even when it's something like Lilo and Stitch, obviously an exception to that rule, made like $1 billion. But, like, because that's something that, like, very clearly you could take the family to. There's a built-in thing there. But, like, Fantastic Four, like, same with Thunderbolts. Like, people really think, one, the Marvel brand's damage is real. Like, to the point that people are like, oh, okay, even if the word of mouth is good, I'm gonna wait for Disney Plus, because, even if it's good, I don't want to waste $100 taking the family to go watch Fantastic Four. And I think that's definitely part of it, and I think it's gonna take stuff like possibly Spider-Man / Avengers.
Spider-Man's gonna make $1 billion because it's Spider-Man, but I'm curious how Avengers does.
I think if it'll be interesting. Interesting because, like, Spider-Man, they're officially starting to, like, reveal stuff for Spider-Man.
That suit looks great.
Suit looks great. It unironically looks like a mix of the Andrew and the Toby suits, which I don't know if that's going to be like a point, but obviously
the raised webbing certainly reminds me of Raimi, but like the spider and
big old emblem
coloring, definitely reminds me of Amazing. What do you okay, so I've been to theaters a few times past few weeks, and the theater I go to has like a big display in the lobby of all the current collectible popcorn buckets. I have never bought one of these. I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of questions. Do you think... Wait, you've bought one. Do you say you've never bought one?
Oh, I did. I bought one.
Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah, it's right here.
Do you buy that aftermarket or did you buy it at the theater? Oh, he's holding it up.
I bought this at the theater the day of.
Okay. And for the people listening, what is that? Because it's not the car. I think there's an Ecto one as well.
There was an Ecto one that was for Afterlife.
Okay.
So I bought that. I actually have two. I have
okay. So you do have that one.
I have two. So because that was the AMC bucket. There was a Regal one that was just the trap. That was just the trap. So my friend got me one of those, and I got him one of the AMC ones, and we did a swap. But
okay, well, I think you might have just answered my question. I was curious, like, who gets the money for those? Like, obviously, theater gets something, but like, are the studios involved at all, or it's just the theater chain licenses the rights, and then they make a popcorn bucket, and if you buy it, you're giving that theater money. I mean, that's probably the business model there, right?
I would assume. Generally, because I really have no idea, but I would assume that in that case, maybe most of the take goes to the theater, because I know there's splits on everything.
Well, there's a Galactus head that is huge, and it's $80. For one, just imagine someone sitting in the theater like with that thing in the lap is hilarious.
The biggest
people behind them, like in the helmet, like blocking their view.
My thing that I always find very, very funny is how most of these popcorn buckets don't serve that function. Like they're not really actually
the popcorn
capable
function.
Of being a popcorn. Yeah,
so
like,
that's
they don't
okay.
Serve
Here's my
like,
real my biggest question, because I've never organically seen someone in the theater using these. But I saw the crypto one in particular from Superman, which I think looks great. Looks like a fun collectible for your shelf. It's crypto holding like basically a bucket in his mouth that the popcorn goes in. But the amount of popcorn that would hold is pretty small. Do you pay like $30, $40 for a small amount of popcorn? Or do they give you like a full-size bag of popcorn next to the bucket for a refill? Or do you just get the amount of popcorn that thing holds?
You get a large popcorn. My understanding is that when you buy the bucket, it comes with a large popcorn.
Okay, well
and
that's
you then can do good. What you want with it. When I bought this when Frozen Empire came out, I bought that, and they were like, okay, because I was going to get a large popcorn, a large drink, because that's just my jam at the movies.
Yep.
And then I was going to get two of the popcorn buckets, because one for me and one for my friend. And they were like, well, okay, well, those come with popcorns. And so I was like, oh, so I technically have two large popcorns? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, dope. So I got my two large popcorns with infinite refills.
Andrew, I got to ask you a personal question.
Sure.
You go to the movies by yourself. You got a large popcorn, large drink.
Uh-huh.
Do you finish the large popcorn?
Yeah.
All right. It's a lot of popcorn, dude.
Yeah, and I have a lot of stomachs. So
are you?
how
are you on popcorn salt?
I put regular salt on my popcorn.
Like by choice, because that's what they have out.
By choice?
You prefer regular salt to theater, like popcorn theater salt?
I mean, whatever they have in the shakers at the theater is what I
like
put
the
on
good
it,
orange stuff. I mean, as opposed to like table salt.
I don't know what it is they have at the AMC, but
I like the kind where like you got to ask for it and they give you a little container, a little clear container with like, because they ration it out.
I don't get that. I just use whatever. I do the butter and the salt.
How heavy is your salt? Like, if you...
I take a pass. I'll describe my process.
Okay.
I take a pass with the salt over the top, do a little bit of a shimmy shake.
Right.
To get it down in there. And then I do the butter next.
Okay.
Clean up my mess because we're not savages, people.
Yep.
Do a little bit of the pass with the butter. Second pass with the butter. Shimmy shake, shimmy shake, shimmy shake. Clean up the mess. Second pass with the salt. Hit the edges. Try to make sure that I'm getting it down into the edges. Then I do a second pass with the butter, doing the same thing of like trying to get the top, but then also around the edges so that it drips down into the bottom. I have not tried the straw method where people put a straw into the popcorn and then stick it up to the thing.
Ridiculous.
That to me just feels insane, and I just don't want to do that.
And all you do is make like a reservoir, like it doesn't spread out anyway. Yeah, that's a weird
life hack.
I don't know if people actually do that.
I do that. It's usually two passes with each bunch of shimmy shakes, trying to shake it down in there. and then inevitably the bottom half of the popcorn still has nothing. So
If I have my way with the popcorn salt, then when I leave the theater and drink something, I do not taste that drink. My tongue is burned to a point. Yes, that's how. That's
like the next day. It happens to be like I go to work. I wake up the next morning and I grab like a drink of something, and I'm like, my tongue is like burned. Like
yes.
It's like it's gonna take a day for those taste buds to grow back.
All right, same page. I am
popcorn buckets though. One last thing though.
Yes.
I want to talk about like Naked Gun had a popcorn bucket at AMC. I don't know if you know this.
I don't think I saw it. No.
It was a beaver.
Fantastic. Did you catch that in the movie? Did you see the beaver in the movie?
I did. I did. It was in the entrance to the guys' club.
Yep.
But like, did you catch the Priscilla Presley cameo?
I did not.
It's there.
Okay.
But speaking about it, like I looked at it and I was like, yeah, this thing would hold like a handful of popcorn.
Yeah.
It's completely ineffective at what it's supposed to do. I don't know. So we'll see. But otherwise, yeah. Popcorn buckets. I have the Ghostbusters ones are the only ones that I've taken the dive on. I have not taken the dive on others.
It seems like a slippery slope, a buttery, slippery slope, and I'm staying strong for now, but I'm sure something's going to come along.
You're holding strong on the grit from the salt and not slipping down the slippery, buttery slope.
That's right. All right, I think, Andrew, I think it's time for that theme song. Yeah.
We're not talking about the best of them. We're just talking about the rest of them.
Not the worst parts, but the best parts. And the best parts we have. The best of the rest.
Hello and welcome to Best of the Rest. My name is Chris Logan, and I am joined as always by the man who is destined to be my co-host, Andrew Williams. Say something to the listeners, Andrew.
Hello.
Mixing it up with a simple that threw me off. Each week we take a second look at a movie that was poorly received upon release and challenge ourselves to only talk about the things we like and what the movie does well. It's Real Bands Month, and this week we are talking the 2006 film Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny. Andrew, it's a new month, it's a new theme. We're kicking off Real Bands Month, which is such a funny theme if you don't know that it's in relation to our previous theme of Fake Bands Month. The movie is about fictional bands. So we want to be specific. This isn't just band themed. It's real bands. There's real bands in all of these movies. And this was one of the first movies I thought of whenever we were coming up with this theme. Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. A movie that personally I had never seen before, never caught it. Didn't see in theaters, didn't catch it on Comedy Central, just for whatever reason, never came across my radar. Watching it for this podcast was the first time I saw this film. How about you, Andrew? What's your history with this movie?
Here.
Same.
Same
okay.
Here. Have obviously heard of Tenacious D, have listened to Tenacious D before, heard a whole bunch of music fans that I know of that, rave about them. Like, Dave Grohl and Foo Fighters kind of became this go-to, like, we're the current popular musicians that are like, ambassadors to the old era of rock, but there was definitely a time where Tenacious D kind of sat in that space with just like the connections they made, the fact that they were friends with so many of these like, classic heavy metal and rock musicians. And you see that on display here with a lot of people present in this movie, but never went back and watched it. I heard from a lot of people that it was a great stoner comedy, and I've just never, I've not really partaken, so I was kind of like, oh, okay. Never really dived in.
It's funny you say that. I don't even remember if I ever shared this with you, but I had come up with the theme of Stoner Month that I was considering pitching, maybe doing it like in April. And we just, we make our schedule. We just never came up with it. But I had 4 movies picked out. This was one of them. Even though I had never seen it, I'm like, I don't know. I bet it's a stoner movie. Like, even if it's not about like pot, I bet a lot of people smoke pot. And then within 20 seconds of starting it, I'm like, oh yeah, this would have fit right in. This definitely has that stoner appeal.
Yeah, like it's funny because like Dude, Where's My Car is the one where everyone's like, it's a stoner comedy. Yeah, but the characters don't actually smoke weed in that movie.
I did have that one in there. Yeah.
There's like, but like there has to be a cut where they did, right? Like there has to be.
Did that come out
version of that
PG-13?
movie.
I wonder if it was like they shot R and cut down to 13. I really don't remember what that's.
The way those characters act and everything, there's absolutely zero way that movie was not totally like a stoner comedy.
Yeah.
Although, did you know that Seth Rogen and Jake Gyllenhaal both auditioned for the lead roles of that movie? Imagine that.
I'm not
version of Dude,
surprised.
Where's My Car?
Seth
version,
Rogen
like-
and Jake Gyllenhaal. That's hilarious.
I would have loved to watch that version of it, but yeah. Anyway, we are here watching. Tenacious D.
For the first time, Tenacious D
For the
in
first time, both of us.
the Pick of Destiny. We're going to talk about all the positives. I think it got right. But hey, let's set the stage a little bit. This movie was first released November 22nd of 2006. It's made on a budget of $20 million at the box office. It brings in $13.9 million, making it a box
Womp.
office bomb. Critically, honestly, a higher score than I would have expected. 53% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's, if you're a mathematician, that's over half of critics are giving it a thumbs up. The audience score, a little bit higher, 67%. Honestly, the critic score is higher than I expected. The audience score is lower than I expected. I expected a bigger gap here.
Yeah, I expected like a Grandma's Boy type gap here where like, the critic score was in the 20s and the audience score was in the 80s.
Yep.
And not quite.
The creative team here, it's written by Jack Black, Kyle Gass, and our director, Liam Lynch. I think it's interesting this trio got this movie made with a $20 million budget. So let's hop over to Jack Black's filmography. And when I say that, I'm actually scrolling through an article to find it. Okay, so I'm going to run through just kind of a few highlights. He's got a lot of small parts in the 90s. Demolition Man, you can see him in the background. Waterworld, making him an alum of the show. He's a random pilot there. A small part in Biodome. The Cable Guy, another movie we've covered. Mars Attacks, another movie we've covered.
An alum of the show. It's like Waterworld makes him an alum of the show. No, not quite.
Well, they all do. We've
first.
talked about him a lot. Turns out, Enemy of the State, another small part. These little bits and parts. And then in 2000, I think is whenever people finally take notice of him, like as a singular talent, when he's in High Fidelity and kind of steals a lot of scenes and gets to be a lot of himself, talking about music and his passion for music. And we have Saving Silverman the year after that, which, are we going to cover that on this podcast one day? I love that. I love that movie. Shallow Hal the same year, so one of his first like leading roles. Orange County, I remember being a big deal, came out. And then 2003, School of Rock, which is like, that movie doesn't exist without him in the lead role. It's one of the best like castings ever. He does King Kong in 2005. So he's a marketable name by the time we get to Tenacious D in 2006. But I mean, this movie's got to be entirely greenlit off of his success alone. Because Kyle Gass, same thing, just small bit parts. We can talk about a little more when we talk about him. And then the person they get to direct, Liam Lynch, is like a friend of theirs that's like a music consultant on various projects. This is the only movie the guy directs. He does some music videos around this time and a little bit afterwards, but like, for all intents and purposes, this man is not a director. And again, this movie gets greenlit, $20 million with a no name as a director, and they get it done. It's got to be like to use a phrase from another podcast, a blank check project for Jack Black. Like, you have all this cachet, we're going to trust you, we're going to give you this budget to make this passion project and see how it goes.
That's kind of what it feels like. Obviously, the biggest thing that Liam Lynch is probably known for before this movie is he directed the video for Tribute, the Tenacious D song of the same name. And that video is, it's one of their most famous things. Probably a big thing that resulted in them getting a lot of popularity in the early 2000s. But then you look at, like you said, you look at what Liam Lynch has done. You've got a bunch of music videos here. You got Tenacious D, Eagles of Death Metal, Weird Al. This guy's got several Weird Al videos. They Might Be Giants, Queens of the Stone Age. Yeah, but one feature film. That's it. He's a consultant and a songwriter on School of Rock, which, again, got a friendship with Jack Black. That's not unexpected. And then has some comedy specials he's directed. He's done 3 Sarah Silverman specials. He did a Tig Notaro special, or was an editor on the Tig Notaro one. And so and he was even a composer and a songwriter on Clone High. So a very wild career, but truly, the only thing bringing him in to this movie is presumably the friendship of the working relationship, I'll say, not just the friendship, with both members of Tenacious D, and then obviously having worked with them in the past on this big music video. And so it truly is something where, it truly feels like Jack Black basically just got some studio to give him $20 million to make a movie, and they turned in whatever they wanted, and it is a heck of a thing.
Good work if you can get it, I gotta say.
Yep.
Can't blame him. Well, Andrew, let's dive into this movie that was the result of all that madness we just talk about all the positives, everything we like, everything that works about Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny. Andrew, you ready for this?
Yeah.
JB is a loner with a passion for classic rock and metal music. When he meets a guitar-playing busker named KG, they form the band Tenacious D. Desperate to win an open mic contest, the two embark on a journey to the Rock and Roll Museum to steal the legendary Pick of Destiny, a guitar pick forged from Satan's tooth that was the key to many rock legends' success over the decades. But after they finally make it to the open mic with pick in hand, they unwittingly hand it back over to Satan, who, now complete, can raise hell on earth. But Tenacious D has one last resort to stop the devil, challenging him to a rock-off. That's it, Andrew. That's the story. I mean, there's the big challenge to Satan, but that's really the end of this movie. It's not really where it's this movie is just a pretty classic road trip style setup, right? Just we gotta travel to this point and get into some hijinks along the way.
Yeah, I mean, really, this movie is largely about them getting the Pick of Destiny, and then at the end we have our final confrontation with the devil. But yeah, the devil himself, played by one of our many fun cameos. So
we're going to talk about those cameos right now, Andrew, because we're going to start by talking about the cast of this film. But first, we are going to talk about the best casting of the film, best performance, because every episode we recognize one person who goes so far above and beyond the Call of Duty that they actually elevate the quality of the entire film with their performance. We recognize that person by giving them the Mark Strong Award. Andrew, kick us off here. Who is getting a Mark Strong Award for Tenacious D in The Pick of Destiny?
I will be giving it to Ben Stiller as Guitar Center guy. No. But
I mean, I would not call you crazy for doing that.
It's one of our many fun cameos, and trust me, we'll be talking about it. But for me, it's a pretty open and shut case. This is Jack Black carrying this project top to bottom. He's putting all of his charisma on display. You can tell that he's really, really into this project and wants it to be successful, and he's giving it his all. He's giving it everything he has, and it shows. And so in that regard, Jack Black as Jables, or JB as they call him. They never actually call him Jack Black here.
Dude, I was getting so confused by the names here, because obviously he says JB, you're like, okay, well, it's Jack Black, it's JB. And then Kyle, they call KG, which Kyle Gass. But at one point, I swear, KG calls JB Jack. Like towards the end of the movie, he just calls him Jack. I'm like, oh, we just acknowledging that he's Jack? And then he'll call KG Cage. I'm like, wait, is his name Cage? But I think that might just be another way to say KG, like a nickname for KG is Cage. I wasn't following it. I don't know.
Well, and at one point, I'm pretty sure he introduces himself as Kyle Gass. Like, I think he's straight.
Yeah, his
up
band
says,
is the
Jack
Kyle
Black
Gass
person.
Project, or his fake band.
Right,
He's talking
so,
about
like,
Kyle
you
Gass
know,
Project. But he calls him
it's not a
Cage.
fake project, man. It's just him. It's a real project. It's a thing.
Fair enough.
But
Andrew, I gotta, I agree with you though. Jack Black also getting my Mark Strong award. It's open and shut. It's a good way to put it. I mean, this movie is almost entirely cameos, which we'll get to in a moment. It's very, as far as like actual performers. I mean, it's a very small pool, but it's his energy. He was, we talked about it already, blowing up at the time. This is like the early zenith of his career, and then he's kind of had this recent resurgence, and I was gonna say like everyone loves Jack Black. That's probably not true. There's probably some people that don't vibe with his energy, but if you do, you're gonna be into like a lot of his projects. He, especially in this era, it's very early Jim Carrey, where like you've got to give them some creative control to let them bring their innate energy to the project. You know what I mean? Like you've got to let Jim Carrey go nuts in Ace Ventura. You've got to let him do his thing, like in The Mask, and you've got to let Jack Black be Jack Black. You know, I think, like I said earlier, High Fidelity's maybe they started to kind of figure that out. Like let him be himself a little bit, and everyone's gonna be better for it. And School of Rock is an entire movie written around his energy, and obviously this one is as well. And you get all the crazy, over the top, the live wire energy that is Jack Black, and it's always entertaining. We went through his filmography earlier. I may not like every movie this guy is in, but he is always a standout and always bringing it. This one's no exception. Pretty easy Mark Strong award, to be honest.
100%.
And of course, Kyle Gass is in the movie as KG. This is the real band. Tenacious D, Jack Black, and Kyle Gass. Our only other lead actor, right? I mean, that's safe to say. Like it's these two, and then supporting characters and cameos, right?
Yeah, basically. That's all it really is.
That's it. Kyle Gass, an actor in his own right. Who is he an alum of the? Yes, he's in Cable Guy. He's has no lines, but he appears briefly at the very end of Cable Guy. So I think we have at least mentioned him on the podcast before. He's got a real small part in. Is he an Elf? Is that him next to? Gosh golly, what is Conan O'Brien's psych? Andy Richter. Is it Andy Richter and Kyle Gass that pitched the book in Elf? Anyway, doesn't matter. He's an actor, but I think Tenacious D's got to be his biggest project for sure. He's the lead guitar player, and honestly, heck of guitar player. I have not listened to a ton of Tenacious D. I know Tribute, like I've never like bought one of their albums, never listened to the albums front to back, but like I've seen this movie and I've heard enough singles and I kind of get the deal. And the concept of a metal band with an acoustic guitar is inherently funny, but what's impressive is underneath all that is like some legit tasty guitar playing. And Jack plays guitar too, but it looks like mostly rhythm, and all the wild stuff is usually Kyle Gass. So I'm very impressed with his guitar skills, and of course he's got great chemistry with Jack Black. This is like by the time this movie comes out, they've been doing this for like 10 years, I think. So it's pretty second nature to them by this point. The character does kind of take a turn. He's pretty adversarial in the beginning until it's revealed just how pathetic his life is, and they join forces and they're together for most of the rest of the ride. But he is he's not really a straight man to Jack Black, but he's still serving up most of the big laughs to Jack Black.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic because I wouldn't necessarily say that either one of them is the straight man.
No,
which,
no, no.
People tend to say, oh, that's the classic comedy setup, the Laurel and Hardy, the whatever, that there's always the straight man. It's, then there's the other version where just everybody's chaotic. You look at the Marx Brothers. Like, I just rewatched Night at the Opera a couple weeks ago because I saw this. Everything I'm about to say out loud right now is going to make me sound super pretentious.
Do it.
I just watched the hour-long episode of the Dick Cavett Show featuring Groucho Marx, filmed in the late 60s when Groucho was much older and removed from his career. And that made me want to revisit some of just the notion of I was just casually watching Groucho Marx on the Dick Cavett Show from 1969.
As you do, as we've all done, Andrew.
But that kind of came when you sent me that set. You sent me that Blu-ray set that was on sale of all their early movies.
I was just pulling it back up because you've talked about A Night at the Opera so much. I've never actually watched it.
It's not in that set.
It's not. That's set. Weird, right?
Because that set is everything basically right before they do their big studio pictures when Night at the Opera starts. So Night at the Opera...
would you still recommend the set, Andrew? It's sitting there in the cart.
100%. 100%. Especially, it was weird because there's two versions of it out there, and I got really confused because I was like, what's the difference? Because one's like $10 cheaper than the other. And it looks like the cheaper one is oddly the earlier limited version, and the more expensive version is the later re-release that doesn't have as much good stuff in it. So
interesting.
It's weird. That's what I've at least figured out. Either way, they're both the same movies, and they're both the same sets. One just says newly remastered, one just says remastered. If you look at the back. If the back phrasing, but you watch Night at the Opera, the scene I sent you, the one where they're cramming into the room, that's just mass chaos. It's one of my favorite comedy scenes of all time, where just everything is going insane and out of control, and it's so there's always been versions of comedy where it's just everybody's a chaotic force, and then usually, unfortunately, the straight man is usually just the innocent bystanders that get caught up in the chaos. But yeah, so they're right here. They're not really dealing with there's no straight man to the other one. They are both living it up and going crazy.
And they're the only two lead actors in the movie. Even I think maybe one character you could call supporting, and the rest are cameos and bit parts. So we'll go through them. We'll try to keep this quick because there's a lot of them. And I had to pull up the list on Wikipedia to make sure I get them all. So I'm just going to go in the order they have it in. It seems kind of random, but I just want to make sure we knock them all out. Ronnie James Dio cameos as himself. It's very early in the movie, and it's awesome. A young JB has a Dio poster on his wall that, during a musical section, comes to life and starts speaking directly to JB. It's awesome. Dio's cool. He throws up the devil horns, and it's very cool. I don't know what else to say about it.
I love Ronnie James Dio. If you asked me who my favorite singer of all time was, not just metal singer, I might tell you it was Ronnie James Dio.
Dio is your favorite singer of all time. I don't think I knew you had. I knew you had a soft spot for the Dio era of Black Sabbath. I think that's come up before, but I
wouldn't even say it's a soft spot. I'll fall on fight people that are oh, it's not Black Sabbath. Die, physically die, please, and remove yourself from this plane of existence. No, just on pure ability, the way he sings, the power in his vocals, and just the fact that you ask. The average person probably still doesn't know who Dio is. But when he is in Elf with Richie Blackmore after he leaves Deep Purple, too many bands with colors in their names, sorry. So after Richie Blackmore leaves Deep Purple, he forms a band called Rainbow, where he recruits Dio to be the singer there. So he's Man on the Silver Mountain. Plenty of classic tracks there. Then when Ozzy leaves Black Sabbath, he joins Black Sabbath and does a run of albums that's Heaven and Hell and The Mob Rules, and both of those are awesome. And then he eventually does a third album with them in the early 90s, Dehumanizer, which is possibly Sabbath's purely heaviest album. That album is it goes. And then obviously Dio, just his work with the band Dio, from Holy Diver to, Sacred Heart to Last in Line to all the way into the 2000s with Killing the Dragon or Metal Machinery, whatever. He never lost it ever. And then he reunites with Black Sabbath in the late 2000s and forms a band called Heaven and Hell, where it's him, Geezer Butler, Tony Iommi, and then Vinny Appice on drums, and they just played those albums, but they did so well that they actually recorded a whole new album of material. So to have essentially a whole new Black Sabbath album by that lineup in the late 2000s, like, made me the happiest that I could have possibly have been. And I got to see that lineup of Heaven and Hell twice. So I did get to see Dio
Rad.
Twice while he was alive, and then he died the day I graduated college.
Oh.
And then Ozzy died on my birthday.
Bummer,
I'm a
Andrew.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Bummer.
I love Dio.
Do you think...
actually... Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I'm just kind of curious how well known Dio is. Like, I don't. You said the average person might not.
I don't know that they do because,
maybe you're right.
Like the average person, I think if you mention like Black Sabbath, they know what Black Sabbath is, but they don't know what Heaven and Hell is. They don't know that.
I do believe Dio is credited with starting the Devil Horns, right? Like they give him credit for Papa, which is the sign of metal. I mean, like it's the interesting. Yeah. Well, anyway, that was a fun excursion, Andrew. I had no idea you felt so strongly about Dio. Maybe I need to listen to some more Dio in my life. I haven't done a deep dive.
Holy Diver and The Last in Line, the first two Dio albums are just... He's got Vivian Campbell on guitar before he leaves and goes to Def Leppard. And they're great. They're genuinely great. But the one thing I will say, there is a YouTube channel called The Charismatic Voice, and it's like a professional vocalist that like listens to like rock and heavy metal and all sorts. She started listening to like other like operatic like type singers, but people were just like, oh hey, you should check out some of these other things. So she actually started listening to like Dio singing songs, and she was like blown away. Truly. Like she was like listening to Dio sing, she was just like, this is incredible. She's like, he's absolutely unbelievable with like the power and the control that he has. And so that was also just, it's validating when even like a professional vocal coach is listening to Dio and it's just like, yeah, this guy rips. Like, just so you guys know, like, just FYI, he's not just a really great metal singer. He's just a genuinely great singer. And he had it all the way till he died. That's the thing that's crazy to me. He died when he died at 67, which feels so young now, but he had stomach cancer. But when I saw him in like 2008 and 2009, and then he died the next year, it's unbelievable. He sounded almost exactly the same as he did in the 80s. So to go almost 40 years and still have that range and that power is unbelievable.
We have many more musical cameos. Dave Grohl plays Satan, which I think I knew that because I think he's also Satan in Tribute music video, and he's been a drummer for Tenacious D on several other albums. So I think I knew this going in, but when Satan first appeared on screen, I was like, oh, maybe he's just Satan in the music video, because like I don't see Dave Grohl under all that makeup. But it's him. So doing a great job, fun cameo, and obviously Satan has to play some instruments and sing. He plays drums, plays guitar, and sings. Which if somebody do those three things with a sense of humor, Dave Grohl's your man, right? Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Getting Grohl to step in for that. So I thought that was a fun cameo.
Yeah, for sure, and I'm certain we'll be talking about this a little bit more later. But yeah, it was a fun little. Yeah, I definitely didn't like realize it was him. But and the devil and Satan, or as they say in Latin, Satanus. Or Satanus. That's Latin for Satan. But it's.
Whoa, Andrew, did you go to Rome and study Latin for 6 years? How'd you know that?
Yeah, I did. Definitely did. But yeah, this one's fun. And obviously when you got to do a music battle, you bring in Dave Grohl, who plays every instrument known to man.
Perhaps my favorite stunt casting in the movie is JB's dad. Whenever we have the flashback for the young JB, his dad is played by Meatloaf, who hates that his son is so into metal, but also has to sing because of this whole musical segment. And so yeah, just look at Meatloaf. He's young Jack Black's dad. It makes a lot of sense. And then the specific metal that Tenacious D is inspired by, it's Dio, it's like over the top theatrical style metal, and Meatloaf, not a metal guy, but over the top theatrical. Yeah, that's your guy.
Yeah, Bat Out of
I
Hell
love
is
this cast.
Bat Out of Hell is genuinely one. Bat Out of Hell is an awesome album. I don't know if people have missed out on that or not, but Meatloaf rules. Like, Meatloaf is awesome. Like, genuinely, honestly, when I saw that it was Meatloaf, I was just like, well, this is perfect. Like, Meatloaf would never be like this in real life, but that's what makes it funny.
Yeah.
But here's a fun fact, Chris. Did you know that, you might have to censor this given that it's the line, but did you know that the shitty Beatles line in Wayne's World, that's Meatloaf?
Remind me
the
of
guy
that.
at the club. The guy at the club who's like, Wayne's like, hey, Tiny, who's playing tonight? And he's like, Jolly Green Giants and the shitty Beatles. And he's like, the shitty Beatles, are they any good? And the guy goes, they suck. The guy who says they suck is Meatloaf. He's the
I did not
bouncer
know
at this
that.
club.
I did not know that.
It's one of my favorite tidbits because like nobody seems to know that that's Meatloaf. But yeah, so they suck. That it's not just a clever name. It's perfect. But
when I think Meatloaf acting, I think Fight Club. He plays Bob. Bob has bitch tits.
A lot of people think Rocky Horror probably.
Yeah,
He's in that too. That man's got around. I don't think he's with us any longer, unfortunately. But which is a bummer. He
died in 2022,
Jesus.
age 74. Yep.
Jesus, he was the bus driver in Spice World. So hey, we're not done talking about Meatloaf, man.
All right, we'll dive more into him later. Andrew, Ben Stiller plays a guy that works at Guitar Center and gives a ton of exposition. We've talked about Ben Stiller several times on this podcast, and I think we're both kind of came to the same agreement that like maybe in the late 2000s, late 90s through the 2000s, through the aughts, we got so much Ben Stiller, we kind of took him for granted and didn't give him as much credit as he deserves. But going back to some of these performances, I'm like, man, this guy is just hilarious.
Like,
and he's so funny.
Yeah,
he does such
unbelievably funny. Like,
small even like when the words he's saying aren't a joke, the way he delivers them, the way he inhabits these kooky characters, he's so good at it. It's funny, I was thinking, yeah, we talked about him, Cable Guy, but we did Heavyweights. I mean, we talked about him a lot. We gave him tons of flowers, I think, with Heavyweights for sure. So I'm not. He was 30 when he made Heavyweights. That's insane, and that means he was even younger when like he did the Ben Stiller show. Like Reality Bites, he's 29, and like he directs that movie too. But like it's nuts that like the world largely just takes Ben Stiller for granted. And like you said, I'm not saying that everything hit, but I have especially since my love of the Secret Life of Walter Mitty has taken off. Like I've always liked Ben Stiller a lot, even back to the Heavyweights days. But Secret Life of Walter Mitty is a movie that means a lot to me. Where's the 4K guys? But he's great, and this scene, like I said, it's almost not a cameo because the scene he's in is so long. Like truly, honestly, like it is an insanely long scene where he basically gives the backstory of the titular pick of Destiny. Like he tells them all about what this is, where it came from, how it came into existence, and where it is. And it's an important scene, and also gives us the tremendous line, Satanus. That's Latin for Satan. Like it's, which is one of those so stupid it makes me laugh type lines that like, well, yeah, no duh, it means Satan. Like of course it does, but you know what? The fact that you told me somehow is funny. Paul F. Tompkins is the open mic night host. Has 2 or 3 scenes. This is one of those roles where I think this isn't necessarily a cameo. This is just small part. I mean, Paul F. Tompkins is a well-known comedian and comedic actor. So certainly like a known quantity at the time, but not stunt casting or anything. It's just, let's get Paul F. Tompkins to play this small part. He's a funny guy. I like how this is an insanely over the top movie with crazy over the top gags and wild stuff, but the plot of it is two guys want to win an open mic night. And I feel like Paul F. Tompkins' character does a lot to keep the stakes super small. He's like, yeah, you guys were okay, but it's pretty tough competition. You might want to, bring some new material. And that's it. That's the stakes of the movie until like Satan appears. But it's like they're just trying to write a really, really good song to win an open mic night. And I think Paul F. Tompkins does a good job of like keeping things small and with like the appropriate importance, which is not that important. It's just an open mic night.
Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily this is like a cameo in the sense that some of the others are, but he does a good job with this role. Really just playing up that, like, it's not that big of a deal, guys. Really just being like, I don't know what your deal is.
Now, this one does, I think, fall into the cameo category. Tim Robbins as, just credited as the stranger. Just a drifter that comes across, and he knows about the Pick of Destiny, and he helps them with a game plan on how to steal it. But it's funny because it's Tim Robbins, who's known as super, super serious actor, playing a well, how do you want to describe this guy? A very creepy looking down on his luck drifter with like a bum leg and missing teeth and crazy long shaggy hair, and not even a bum. He's missing a leg because at one point he laments that he misses his sweet ass leg, which is just a funny thing to hear.
Just a ridiculous thing for a person to say out loud.
100%. And it's funny I just called him super serious Tim Robbins actor because that is what he's known for. But he's an alum of the show. We talked about him multiple times. One of which is Green Lantern, which is not super serious. And the other one is Howard the Duck, which is not super serious. So I guess he does get out of that wheelhouse plenty of times. But, he's kind of known for the more prestigious roles.
Well, yeah, like he wins an Academy Award for Mystic River like 3 years before this. Like he's definitely got his like highbrow stuff. You look at things like
Shawshank, obviously.
Shawshank obviously is a huge one. Jacob's Ladder back in 1990. Did we do Mission to Mars?
We did do Mission to Mars. We talked about him a lot. Look at that. Yeah.
We talked about him a lot. But like, and then he does Mystic River in 2003, and then Shawshank is 94, I think. And does he get an award for Shawshank? I don't think he does.
I don't think. Is that the Forrest Gump year? Because if so, that's what he lost.
Oh, yeah, that's probably why. Might have been the wrong choice. I'm not sure. But what does step out to me, though, is that in 2004, he does cameo in Anchorman as well. So he's not opposed to... He's the public news anchor in Anchorman, and the best scene in that whole movie, which was so good, they decided to recreate it for the sequel and make it shockingly less effective. But I do love that scene. So he's always like had no issue like stepping into the comedy realm. I'm never going to be sad when he shows up, although he hasn't done...
I mean,
he's on Silo. I was going to say, I don't know that he's done a whole lot recently, but he's on the show Silo, so he does show up there. But
I love him in
like
War of the Worlds.
Since 2019. He hasn't done like a full-on... Yeah, he hasn't been in a feature film since 2019. That's kind of ridiculous.
That's surprising.
War of the Worlds is good. He's very good in that.
Yeah. All right. Another cameo here. John C. Reilly is
Jesus Christ.
the Sasquatch.
Go on forever.
Which
go on for literally forever.
We'll talk about this more when we get to the scenes, but like as I was watching the movie, I had to look up who this was. I'm like, I know that's somebody. I might be able to recognize the voice, but he's under so much makeup. And then once I saw his John C. Reilly, it's like, yep, I hear it. That's Wreck-It Ralph himself. And it's talking about John C. Reilly is not known as a prestigious actor, but you go up and down his filmography, dude can do anything. Dude has insane range. He's got plenty of high profile comedies and with Step Brothers and stuff with Will Ferrell, but then you see him in like Magnolia or some of his other work, and it's like he's almost like Philip Seymour Hoffman esque, very similar energy. Very impressive range.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't even realize it was him at first. But yeah, John C. Reilly is great. I think people kind of forget that he does like ridiculous or sometimes does serious things. Not that this is by any means serious, but he has, he just boogie nights in between everything else he does. But yeah, this is just a ridiculous scene that he's in here, but he is pitch perfect for it.
Amy Poehler is a waitress. None of these cameos even have names. She just trucks up waitress.
We're at a point now where like you could almost just list them because there's very little to.
There's nothing to really say about it. Yeah, I wonder. 2006. Is this a cameo or is this a small part? I mean, this is like. It's after Wet Hot American Summer, which is not a hit or making her well known. Is she on SNL by 2000?
Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Oh, she's definitely on SNL. I think she joins SNL in 2001, but
so probably just a small role
at this point. She is doing Weekend Update at this point.
Okay.
So there might be some notoriety. But Parks and Rec comes in 2009, and I think that's like
pushes the next level. Yeah.
Yeah.
Colin Hanks shows up in there. Obviously got a Jack Black connection from Orange County, which I assume is how he factors in here. Amy Adams is in like 2 seconds just reacting to the band. Let's see, deleted scene. Fred Armisen plays a security guard. I think it's just a small role, but I love Fred Armisen. I think he's absolutely hilarious. A few cameos that got cut, but yeah, I think we don't need to name every single one, but like it is packed full of small bit parts and fun cameos. Because that's all the movie is. It's just bits and gags of different people. But we'll move on to scenes, but I do want to mention one person who I said like is the only character I would consider a supporting character, not just a bit part, a cameo. That is J.R. Reed as Lee, who's just Tenacious D's #1 fan. He sees them playing on the street. He goes to every gig. He's very supportive. He's there when JB auditions to be in the band. He loans them his car, which I just love that. He delivers Zaz, but he's also a student driver, and he does both at the same time. It's just that never like pays off. I thought they were setting something up by establishing there's that extra brake pedal. It didn't mean anything. It's just a funny idea that he would be able to do both. But he seems like a 30-something-year-old metalhead. Just kind of has that energy. So good casting, believable as Tenacious D's big fan.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Kristen Schaal as the fan of Flight of the Conchords in Flight of the Conchords, where there's just like, despite the fact that the band is not famous and not successful, there's this just like one really massive fan for some reason, bordering on like obsessive to the point of it's a little creepy, but it is it's pretty funny though, and he's like, and so he works with Kyle Gass and one of his other bands, so there's some connections there, but yeah, it is pretty funny.
All right, Andrew. Well, let's jump into this movie, all the scenes, all the gags, everything we liked, and we're going to start by talking about the best scene of the film, or at least our personal favorite. So, Andrew, in your opinion, when is this movie firing on all cylinders? What is the best scene in Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny?
This movie. But there is a bunch of scenes that are really, really fun, but I think I just got to go with the known face-off. It's Tenacious D versus Satan in a rock-off, which I believe under the terms of Demon Code, he has to accept.
Doesn't have a choice.
But just cannot decline. And I love that they challenge him that if they win, he has to return to hell and pay their rent. Yeah, like
that's the big, the big stakes.
It's not that just that he has to return to hell. It's that you must also pay our rent. Which, hey, sweet gig if you can get it.
I do love the low stakes of this movie because I forgot about that. I knew they wanted to win open mic night, but they just want rent money. Like that's the entire. I love how small. How small the stakes are. I love that about Dude, Where's My Car too. Like you just
it's a small stakes movie, but there's this like very weird like third act. Suddenly the stakes are really large.
Yeah,
and it just kind of like escalates. So like here, it's like, oh, we're playing the devil. The devil is reformed, and it's.
But even then, like it's only known to the two of them. It's not like he terrorizes the city
like
or anything.
The world at large knows what's happening. Yeah, it's the classic. But anyway, it's they challenge Satan. They have their rock off. Satan tries to say that his rock was better, but this leads to a face-off here where they ultimately succeed and banish Satan back to hell. And it's just ridiculous. It's pure insanity. Everybody's having a blast. Like, obviously, Dave Grohl playing Satan is it's a delight. Dave Grohl's current controversies aside. But it's a fun sequence. It's a fun way to end the movie. It does kind of come out of nowhere. Like, that is what I was like. This whole movie's about getting the pick. And then just like randomly at the end, it's like, oh, here we go. Let's fight the devil now. And it's like, well, okay. All right.
And Paul F. Tompkins is the devil? Is that what they're like? Because he picks up the pick and then like, or is he like a Satan worshiper? And he's like, hey, Satan, I have your tooth.
I don't remember. What does there?
He picks up the two pieces and he holds them in his hand, and then like the ground opens up, and I can't remember if he turns into Satan or Satan rises. I wouldn't.
Satan comes out of the hole, I think.
But he's not.
But
he doesn't like possess Paul F. Tompkins.
I don't remember. I just watched it. I don't remember. but anyway, this is my favorite scene. It's when the whole insanity of the movie comes to, like, we have this massive car chase that leads into this too.
Hang on. I don't mean to interrupt, but I did check the Wikipedia synopsis. The owner is revealed to be Satan in human form, who places the pick of destiny back in his broken tooth. I do remember him doing that, pin in his mouth. So he is Satan, but he's not even the one that sends them on the quest. So what a coincidence that they find out about the pick of destiny and end up back in this.
Who saw it coming? But
the
anyway,
devil works in mysterious ways, Andrew.
He does. This is almost like the inverse of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, where they run into the devil in like the first act, and then he never comes back. I just thought that was funny. That like literally this whole movie, you're just kind of like, all right, cool, we got the pick. What's gonna happen now? And then it's like, oh, the devil. So anyway, I like this scene a lot. It's the chaotic madness of the movie, kind of culminating in this big final showdown, and it's a blast.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's a scene you would expect, knowing Tenacious D, knowing the premise, and as soon as you find out like the pick is Satan's tooth, you're going to see Satan. I love when he first like arrives and like all the like amps and speakers like surround them to form this little arena visually. It's just great. And like I said, knowing it's Dave Grohl and getting to see Dave Grohl play drums as Satan, great, wonderful, blast. 10 out of 10. Like this is
why are you gonna what more do you want?
Great use of your $20 million and creative freedom to get us to this point. Andrew, I love the pick scene. That is, I'm gonna go a different direction. I'm gonna pick a different scene that I also think is just extremely fun, and it's just a dream sequence that happens about halfway through the movie. JB, they're on their way to get the pick of destiny. He falls asleep in the car, and he's dreaming about what they will sound like once they have the pick of destiny. And we have them performing on the open mic stage. JB has the pick just around his necklace, around his neck on a necklace. And they start playing the song, but they have like supernatural powers. And he just talks about how powerful his voice is. And just by singing, he's blowing people's hairs back. And it starts off really like mellow. Them kind of just getting everyone's attention in the bar. This is where Amy Adams randomly shows up. She's just there listening and impressed by their sound. The song ramps up, turns into a full-on rock metal song. It's one of the few like electric songs they play. Kyle Gass has electric guitar, but I love the gag where like every time we go back to the band, they've evolved in some way. Like I think he starts off shirtless. We got to shot the crowd and go back, and now Jack Black has like a fishnet top on, and then like a jacket, and then Kyle Gass in particular, his guitar keeps changing. At one point, it's two necks going in opposite directions, and it's like a woman's legs that he's playing. And then at one point, it's a very, speaking of Naked Gun, a very Naked Gun style joke where he's got like 6 necks lined up and the camera is panning down all the necks, and somehow he has a hand on every single neck playing guitar. Yeah. It's great. It's super silly, and it's just very indicative of this movie's sense of humor. And on top of all of that, there's a kick-ass metal song playing. Like, the music throughout this movie is great. It's so much fun. The guitars rip, and that blend of metal homage. It's not parody what they're doing, but it is comedic homage, pastiche. I don't know what category it falls under, but genuinely great metal music that is also hilarious with visual gags that are genuinely creative. I want to pick this one as my favorite scene of the movie because it's my favorite Tenacious D performance in the film.
I think this is a great pick. Again, pun intended. But it's a good scene. It's just kind of showing their madness and their energy together kind of on full display. And I think this is a good choice. This movie is like, if you're into this, if you're into what Tenacious D is offering, this movie is chock full of things you should enjoy with it. So,
Andrew, I mentioned earlier that about 30 seconds into watching this, I was like, oh yeah, stoner comedy. Before the movie actually begins, there's a parody of the THX logo, which is like the audio system that we all know, the big, but this is for THC. And it's an animated Kyle Gass and an animated Jack Black, and it's basically just a big fart joke. Their animated characters fart, they fly around the screen on their fart, and it says THC as a big fart rips, and it's just it's a fart joke and pot joke in one, and it really tells you the kind of movie you're about to watch. Now, Andrew,
yeah, it did.
Me, the 30-something-year-old man watching this for the first time, I'm not dying laughing. It's not the funniest thing. It probably would hit harder if I saw this when the movie first came out. But a few things I like. I like that it sets the tone to let you know the kind of silliness you're in for. And I like how creative this is. We've talked about how we love when they alter the production company's logo in the beginning in various ways. You know, Spider-Verse doing it is a great example we've mentioned many times. But I'm trying to think if I've seen another movie do quite what they do here. The fake, and it's not a production company, but the fake or the parody of a...
Yeah.
What do you call this thing? Ad? What is this? The THX thing that plays? I don't know, because it's not
an
ad. Okay. Well, a parody of a thing you expect.
Advertising like a thing. Yeah. Like it's, you know, when they use THX in a movie, they put the thing at the beginning of it, so saying they did. So it's an ad in a way, I guess. Like, I guess by using THX, you agree to have an ad for it or a role for it at the beginning. Same with all the production companies. Like, when a movie uses a production company, it gets put at the beginning. So it's an ad, I guess.
Well, there you go. I don't know if I've ever seen this in a movie before, so for that alone, I got to give it kudos.
Yeah. Definitely would have hit different if I watched this movie when I was 19.
Yes. Yes. Andrew, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is this movie a musical? He's thinking, guys. He's making a lot of faces as the gears turn. Just keep everybody.
I would say that if Blues Brothers is considered a musical, this should be as well.
Is that where we landed on that? We have discussed this on the podcast before, and I know personally what I came to as my definition of a musical is whenever they do songs, they break the reality. Like, we all just act like people aren't singing and dancing in the street. Whatever you call that, that makes it a musical. This movie does that once. I think the opening musical number is the only time we do the classic musical thing where people are talking to each other in song. Because after that, I think it's all in universe. They're playing music.
They're the Rock Off with the Devil. They're speaking back and forth while singing, aren't they?
Well, yeah, but that's actually happening, you know? Like, when he was a little kid, he didn't actually sing with Meatloaf, his dad.
Sorry, guys. I misunderstood. The Rock Off with the Devil is, quote, actually happening. So, my mistake.
In the reality of this world, that's actually happening in the parking lot. That was my take anyway. Anyway, I lean towards musical because they do have the one true musical number. There's so much music in it. And then they do have like those transitions where they show like the card, like the quest or whatever, and he had like musical interludes.
Calls it a musical fantasy comedy film.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
What does Wikipedia call Blues Brothers?
Where did we land on that? Because all the music is happening in the reality of that world, but there's just a lot of it. So do you think because there's so many performances?
They call it musical action comedy film. I still think it's a musical because there's they're playing that song at Ray Charles's music shop, and people out in the street start dancing. Like,
okay,
that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't work. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm not
stuff like that.
I haven't watched that in a long time.
Like,
I won't fight you on it, but
like that's the one scene that I think breaks it because like the rest of it is largely presented as the band performing, which I don't necessarily think that doesn't make it a musical. I think that's still valid as, just, if is like there's a bunch of band performances centered around a narrative in a film. I don't think that doesn't not make it a musical, but like
I don't think School of Rock
film.
I don't think School of Rock is a musical.
They made a musical out of it.
Okay, but I don't think the movie School of Rock starring Jack Black is a musical.
I would say it is. But it's whatever. But
so wait, but then the question is like, how many songs do you need to have in a movie before it becomes a musical?
I don't know.
Is Airheads a musical?
Sure.
What? You don't actually think Airheads is a musical, Andrew?
No, because Airheads is largely about one band playing one song like twice.
Okay, School of Rock is about one band playing a song a few times.
They played many songs throughout that movie.
Still just one band. What number is it? Airheads only has one song or two songs, so it's not a musical. School of Rock
Airheads has one song.
They play it twice. Whatever. Okay, Airheads has a band play a song once, not a musical. School of Rock has a band play a song 5 times, so it is a musical.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Like I don't know what you're. I don't know why you're trying to gotcha me on this, man.
I want to understand how the filing system works in your brain.
For me, like, I would say School of Rock is a musical just because it's, like, one, it's about music. But I can understand if you're going to say School of Rock isn't a musical. If your line is that if the movie is simply featuring a group playing music and the music never, like, breaks the reality of it. If that's because that would mean like Mighty Wind is not a musical. Would you
Correct.
say a Mighty Wind is not a musical?
Right.
You would say that like anything of that nature. Now, like it is a fine line because like I'm not gonna say like Stop Making Sense by the Talking Heads is a musical because it's just a concert film.
That's its own thing. Yeah.
Like that's a key differentiator between a musical and like a concert film, but like there's no narrative aspect. So in like, Stop Making Sense, like, you're just watching the Talking Heads play a show. You're not watching a story unfold. Well, you're watching the musical story of the Talking Heads unfold in front of your eyes as they progressively bring more instruments on stage. Yes,
I think concert film is its own category.
Yeah, but, like, with me, yeah, I would say Blues Brothers is a musical. I would probably say, like, if you're going by your definition, I understand why you would be like, School of Rock is not a musical, but this is, or Blues Brothers is. Because there are scenes where the music is, like you said, it breaks the reality.
Right. Okay.
Is Joker 2 a musical?
I haven't seen it, and I never will. So I won't be able to answer your question, Andrew. I don't know.
One, I would say that it is. But my favorite line in that movie will still forever be when, towards the end, when everything has gone awry, he goes to Lady Gaga and she's singing to him, and Joaquin Phoenix's character is like, "Just talk to me, stop singing." Like, I'm just like it's the one moment in the movie where I was like, you should have said that 2 hours ago and might have saved us a whole lot of trouble, man. Hashtag PP.
There's this weird thing happened in this movie where I really think like, man, they really just gave him $20 million and said, "All right, let us know when the movie's done." It's whenever JB falls asleep on a bench and is harassed by droogs.
Right, from Clockwork Orange.
For
like, what?
no reason. Like, it's just...
Zero reason.
I do like the bit though that like they're all they're talking like droogs and their
Yeah.
Cockney-esque accent, and then one guy speaks in like without the accent, and they all call him out. He's like, "Oh, I mean, hey," and he he slips back. I don't know the
Yeah.
line. He slips back into the accent, but then like they all run off, and that's it. Kyle Gass act like he fought him off, and really he didn't. But why were they droogs? Why did they? Why?
I have no idea. It's literally, and it would have been even better. Like, if you had called Malcolm McDowell, he would have done it. I know he would have. Like, that's
probably.
It reminds me of like when Space Jam 2 was coming out, and they were showing like all the crowds of like WB properties standing around the basketball game, and you see the droogs there. And everyone was like, why are they in this movie? Why are they in Space Jam? This doesn't make any sense.
Everything is IP, Andrew. Everything's
IP. But God, just read the room. Does the New Line Cinema animatic make you nostalgic for a better
Dude,
time?
It's so weird that you brought that up. Whenever we were talking about the THX logo and stuff, that's exactly what I thought of, and I couldn't figure out how to work it into our conversation, and you just threw it out there. You just said, "Hey, we're going to talk about it." 100%, especially like Ninja Turtles is the one I think of first, but it's in front of a ton of movies. But the fact that on VHS it plays the logo twice in a row every single time, like that is, why does it do that? My headcanon is that it does it once because like for normal, and once is like New Line Cinema home video. So once is like the fact you're watching a home video, once is that it's just attached to the movie. I don't know if that's true or not, but having that logo play back to back, exactly the same music, extremely nostalgic for me. I guess to answer your question, yeah, 1000%.
Okay, wanted to check.
All right, yeah, I'm going to see
the Ninja Turtles VHS logo is just that. There's a lot of commercials at the beginning of the TMNT VHSs that just live in my head. To the
TMNT,
point that, like, I have
Dumb and Dumber, Batman '89. All the
Batman
commercials
89
attached to those.
That's neckties. That'll, since we're down to our last Diet Coke, all of that just in my head forever. To the point that, like, I literally have, like I have a YouTube playlist that anytime I just think of an old nostalgic commercial from my youth, I just find it on YouTube and add it to that playlist. And then it's up to, like, it's at a whole like 9 minutes right now, but it could get longer. No, I remember, like, God, there's so many. We used to have the old Rankin Bass Rudolph taped off television. And so not just are you getting like CBS ads from 1990, you're getting like Christmas ads from CBS in 1990, and there's so many. Like, I remember a needlessly specific McDonald's one when they still used Ronald McDonald in their commercials because they hadn't figured out that he terrified everybody yet. It's just like sort of stuff where like I just go dinking around and I'm just like, man. I'll tell you the one that haunts me still is I think it's on TMNT. It's a Pizza Hut commercial, the one with the baseball.
The baseball,
kids.
yeah.
And it plays a version of Right Field that I have never been able to find.
A version of Right Field? What do you mean?
The song Right Field.
Okay, I don't even know what that
Peter,
is.
Paul, and Mary. It's
Okay.
the song, like, gotta know how to catch, you gotta know how to throw, that whole song they're playing in that trailer. It's a specific version used in that commercial, and I have never been able to find it. Ever. Whatever version of the song that is does not exist in the world.
Just for that trailer.
Just for that commercial, yes.
Well, that commercial, yeah. TMNT coming back to theaters for its 35th anniversary because
I will be
because
watching
we're
this.
old, Andrew. Yeah, Fathom events. I think it's got the extra footage. I guess it's gonna be like after the movie. Like I don't think it's spliced in, or I don't think it's an extended cut or anything. I think
It'll either be at the beginning or the end.
Yeah.
I don't know which, but it'll be like that. They're doing so now. I'll be doing. My friend is trying to determine the best day for us to go watch it, but I'll be there. I've seen TMNT 90 on the big screen before. I have. Alamo used to do screenings of it every now and then, and they did one in the aughts that was an all-you-can-eat pizza party. It was you watched TMNT and then you was unlimited pizza. So you would eat a whole pizza, ask for another one, eat a whole pizza, ask for another. The tickets were like $30 because of that. But
makes sense. That's rad.
But
one
it
of
was
my
cool, so, you know.
dude, one of my
I'd
favorite,
like 7 pizzas to go, please.
one of my favorite Alamo events was a cereal party. It was all you can eat
Yep.
cereal, and it was Saturday morning cartoons with commercials for like 2 hours, and you just ate Fruity Pebbles as
Went
much
back
as
in
you
time.
want. It was
Went
beautiful.
back in time, man. It was,
It's really
It's funny-
pathetic how nostalgic millennials are. And like the fact that they can sell us the same crap over and over again.
It's I want to say this to the credit of millennials, so don't follow me on this
Okay.
journey, if you will, Chris. As I have often spoken, nostalgia is not simply the thing. Like, it's not like when they made a Power Rangers movie in 2017 or 18, whenever that was, and it was weird, dark, and edgy, and they didn't morph for like 80% of the movie's runtime. Turns out, Power Rangers fans, kids that were fans of Power Rangers, or adults that were fans of Power Rangers in their youth, had no real desire to watch that. Because that movie is not going to make me feel like I did when I was watching it as a kid. And that is the key to nostalgia. It is not the thing. It is the feeling that thing gave you.
1000%.
And I think in a time where things seem progressively bleaker and bleaker, and our prospects and chances at prospering like previous generations become slimmer and slimmer, we retreat to those feelings of our youth when it felt simpler. And it felt like hope was real. And it felt like the future was wide open. And so I'm saying that to our credit, that the reason we tend to go back and live in the past in a way, or at least try to feel like we did, is because the world has failed us largely in a way it did not fail previous generations. Now, does that excuse the fact that you all went and see some of these movies? No. You should feel bad about that. But I'm just saying, I get it. And I understand, and I am just as guilty of indulging in it as anybody else.
I mean, I'm gonna buy the $40 TMNT 4K that's been hinted at. I'll pay $50 with the steelbook, whatever. It's gonna happen.
Dude, I'll spend more than that. It's ridiculous. I just looked at my Amazon pre-orders. It's like $1,200 of movies coming out between now and January. It's absolutely insane. Two of the like a good third of that price is literally 2 of them, because 2 of them are big library steelbook sets. One for Nightmare on Elm Street, one for Superman. But yeah, like I'm look at this. I have the Clue 4K. I have the Superman 5 film collection. I Know What You Did Last Summer 4K. I have the 40-Year-Old Virgin steelbook. Why? I don't know. Am I still going to get that when it comes out? I don't know. Probably. The Conjuring is getting a steelbook. I love The Conjuring. To Catch a Thief. What else do I have in here? There's all sorts of stuff in here. But like, some of it's not nostalgic. Some of it's definitely just like things that I think would be cool. Yeah. The fact that Marvel got Jonathan Hickman to write an Alien versus Avengers comic. Yeah, I'm buying the collection of that. It's happening. The Superman 4K, the one I just saw, I'm definitely getting that. Amazon's doing exclusive steelbooks of Halloween and Halloween 2 for some reason. I already have Halloween and Halloween 2, man. But I'm going to buy those because the steelbooks look cooler. Because, hot take, the Shout Factory covers for their Halloween 4Ks suck. Anyway, Tenacious D is fun.
At one point, JB eats some mushrooms growing on the side of the road. And my note literally says, 8 random mushrooms. You know what that means. It's a bit of a pet peeve of mine that in TV shows and movies, any random mushroom you find growing is going to make you have a fantastic trip. Because that's not how mushrooms work, but whatever. A movie like this, I certainly don't care. I'm not complaining. Yeah, we just need an excuse for him to have a big trip. And we get a fun animated sequence as you'd expect. A bunch of, black light mushrooms. And this big, almost called dreams, I guess not quite dream sequence, hallucination sequence where he meets Sasquatch, played by John C. Reilly.
It's a trip.
It's a trip. And I love John C. Reilly's Sasquatch costume because, like, it leaves, like, a cutout for his face to poke through, but then his face has, like, brown makeup and he's got these big fangs. It's just so weird looking. And then eventually JB becomes a Sasquatch too, and he's riding on his dad's back as he flies through the air. And every now and then we cut back to reality where he's actually climbing a tree or in a branch of the tree, pretending like he's flying and eventually falling. If you had given me a chance to guess like what gags or moments to be in this movie, a hallucination sequence like this would have been like one of my first picks. Like I knew it was coming, knew it was happening. But comedies like this, they're always a good time. Like you just have license to do whatever you want. Like I love when he says the word juicy and the word flows out of his mouth in bright colors. It's good. You got there's this scene, there's something like this in Anchorman, there's something like this in 21 Jump Street, and I like all of them, Andrew.
Yep. Fantastic.
I love Fred Armisen as a security guard, and I guess I should shout out the other security guard. I only recognize Fred Armisen, but the other one is Ned Bellamy. They're security guards at the Rock and Roll Museum, and I like that they're clearly like not great at their job. And eventually, they chase them out of the museum, but JB and KG get away. And instead of being like, "Oh, they got away," he's excited. He's like, "I've never shot my gun before. That was awesome." I just love Fred Armisen's weird energy, and anytime he pops up, I'm all about it.
100%.
Andrew, just like the tripping sequence in all these comedies, you know what else is in a ton of comedies, oddly, is the...
You mean the drug trip. Sorry.
What did I say?
You said the tripping sequence, and I was like, wait, when did somebody fall in this movie?
Yes, I thought the drug part was implied, but yeah. You know how people trip in a lot of movies, Andrew?
They do! Like,
there's always a rug pulled up out of the corner.
There's a bit in Spies Like Us, which is a Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, Cold War comedy. I don't know. But there's a scene where Dan Aykroyd like falls down the side of like a mountain and is just falling, and like something else is happening concurrently, and it just cuts back to him falling occasionally, and he's just going hip tap, then finally just goes, "God damn it," and then finally like flips out of the screen. And for some reason I was like, there's no scene like that in this movie at all. Why would you bring that up?
Oh yes, the classic tripping sequence. No,
idiots.
What I was gonna say is another staple of comedies like this is the laser grid, comedically making your way through a laser grid, which is also like presented. It's also in serious movies, like Entrapment is like the the big famous one, but there's plenty of like, I don't know, Mission Impossible-esque spy movies that present a laser grid and you gotta sneak through them. Drop through the ceiling.
Entrapment's got to be the one that like puts it on the map, though, right? Like Entrapment's got to be.
It's always the first. I've never seen the movie, but it's the first one I think of.
Like it's got to be the one that like made it a thing. It's like then it's in like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back like the next year, and then like suddenly everything was about navigating laser grids.
Resident Evil. I mean, that one's pretty famous too, but a little bit different. It's not quite serious, not quite comedy. That one, I don't know what you call that one. I guess it's a horror attempt at it. But at any rate, I think maybe at this point, comedic ones, like it's been parodied so many times. I don't know if you could seriously do this. And I'm trying to think of a more recent movie that has presented a serious person makes their way through a laser grid. I'm not sure. I think Ocean's 12 definitely does it. Anyway, the comedic version, Get Smart does it. Sonic 3 has a big laser sequence, and we have one here, and it's funny because it's Jack Black, who doesn't look like a graceful person, stepping his way through this laser grid
until
he falls short of being able to reach the off button. There's a big red button you can push to turn the lasers off. Before we talk about this gag, Andrew, do you think laser grids have ever been used in actual security?
Not in the sense they are in the movies, no.
I think, no way. For one, the idea that if you break a laser, you set off the alarm. So let's just set a bunch of randomly pointed lasers. Motion sensors have existed well before the laser technology. You would just make it a motion sensor for the room. Like you wouldn't just point a bunch of lasers in random directions, or you'd make it entirely
put
across
sensors at the doors. Like you would control the entrances to the room.
Yeah.
And you would have additional things at the item itself.
It's got to be 100% a movie thing, a movie trope. But At any rate,
It is.
there's a good callback here because you see, whenever JB was auditioning to be worthy of being in the Kyle Gass project, he was putting him through the ringer. He was making sure he could do a power slide. He was making sure he could do push-ups and making sure he could do. I guess we're editing this episode. We didn't announce as unedited. I don't know if I can. Do I have to edit this word, Andrew? Is this a bleep word?
What word are we talking about?
The type of push-ups he has to do.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I just said, God damn it. So if that's fine, then whatever.
Well, I don't know if I bleep that or not. I don't know if future me is going to decide.
Then I can't tell you what future you's gonna say, man.
Okay,
Jesus.
we've got to be. We'll just use the actual. He's got to do penis push-ups. That's okay to say. That's
penis
just
is fine. Yeah,
yeah.
You can say penis, man.
Penis is fine. That's the quote that we're going to take away from this podcast. Penis, it's fine. He's got to do
It is,
push-ups.
folks.
He's got to do
Am I being
push-ups
weird?
with his penis, which of course is impossible because he can't do it. But cut to this laser sequence. He's just short of the button. It's down by his waist. And you know he's got to do. He's got to use the penis. And an erection breaks through the buttons of his jeans, slowly makes its way out, pushes the button. Andrew, I thought this was pretty funny. It's very juvenile. It's very dumb. But, we are pro dong on screen. We've made this point many times before.
That's actually why I don't care for it.
Because you don't actually see it. I would have been totally fine like if it just broke through his underwear and there was just like go all the way. This movie's got to be rated R, right? There's nothing stopping him from doing that. Like I don't need Jack Black's actual penis. It could still be a fake, whatever they're using. But just whip it out there, just show it. Why not? But it's still pretty graphic even without it. And pushes the button, and it was a fun gag. My favorite part about it, though, like the penis is funny. But they keep cutting these close up of Jack Black's face as he is forcing his penis to do this, and his face work is
so ridiculous,
top notch. It is so good. It was some of his best work in the movie. Is those faces he was able to contort in his face. Again, I'll say very Jim Carrey-esque. Like the more Jack Black I see and think about, the more I realize those two have a lot in common in their comedic performances.
Yeah. For sure. This is definitely a scene where I was watching it and I was like, again, 19 years ago.
If I would have saw this at the time. Like, and that's kind of my feeling of the whole movie. I mean, I think, they get the pick of destiny. They go back. They battle Satan. They steal Satan's horn to banish him. They use the horn as the bong, being a bongo in the movie. I like this movie fine. Like, there's nothing in this movie, like, it's not offensively bad. Like it's totally fine. I just can't help but watch it and be like, yeah, I think if I saw this movie once upon a time, I could see it. And we've said this exact same thing about some other comedies we've come to late, where it's like I appreciate it for what it is. It's not hidden for me as it might for someone else my age that saw it back in the day, but there's something about being an adolescent, being a teen, maybe even early 20s, where like maybe it's because you're still trying to figure out your identity. You're just more your brain's kind of wide open to like absorb these things and become part of your personality, and then it will forever hit you harder because it hit you in that window. You know what I mean? I mean, we've had this conversation with Adam Sandler all the time. Like, is it what the movies that he released while we were kids, are they actually better, or do we just feel more nostalgic about them because of when they hit us? It's an eternal discussion. But anyway, that's this movie in a nutshell. I had a good time with it. It's got fun gags. If you know Jack Black's sense of humor, you know how you're going to feel about it. I certainly would have liked it more if I was 12 or 13 or 16 or whatever, but it's still no issue to go back and watch it now.
Yeah.
And the music rules.
Yes, the music is quite good.
There is a post-credit scene. Do you stick around for that, Andrew?
Yes, I did. But remind me what it is.
The two of them are at their kitchen table with the tape recorder, trying to capture the masterpiece, that magic moment. You'll just know it. You'll feel it. And then Kyle Gass is about to play something on guitar, but then he lets out a fart. He's like, oh, I thought I felt something. And It's a fart joke. But which
Yep.
up to that point, I'm like, okay. But then Jack Black stops the tape and goes, let's listen back to it. And then it cuts to black, which
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But this movie opens and closes with a fart joke. It opens with that THC big fart joke. It closes post credits with it's bookended by fart jokes, and I'm sure these two wouldn't have it any other way, Andrew.
Exactly.
Well, here it is, Andrew. Real band month. I just this category tickles me. It's more. There's more. It wasn't too hard to put together, and I was kind of surprised about that. I think there's even a few options we could have used, but ended up not using. But there's a not insignificant number of movies based around real bands, and several of those that are poorly received. So here we are.
Indeed.
Right now, Andrew, at the end of this episode, you know what time it is. It's time to enter AA. It's time for Ask Andrew, the part of the show where I ask you a question and you have to answer it. You're legally obligated. It's in the contract. Sometimes I just spring something on you. Sometimes I go to our listeners for a question. If you want to leave a question to Ask Andrew, you can do so by hopping into our Discord. There's a link in the show notes. Come and join us. What are you waiting for? Got a channel set up there for you to drop those cues. And that's where I'm going for this week's question. This comes from Cam Film Buff, who asks, do you recall seeing any of the films you've covered on film stations growing up? I think they mean like movie channels. They go on to say, I remember watching Ghost Ship on HBO or Skinamax for the naughty content, only to immediately see the nightmare fuel that preceded it. Love the idea of you watching Ghost Ship because you know there's probably like boobs in it, and then like that opening sequence happens and you are never the same, and you never forget that the rest of your life.
You're just like, oh God, no.
Any of the movies, they're asking specifically about movies we've covered in the podcast. Do you have any like strong cable network or movie channel association with movies we've talked about here, movies we've covered here?
Trying to think about the stuff we've done. Not so much the comic book stuff, probably. Like because a lot of that's more recent. So to kind of have that nostalgic view of it, I kind of have to go back further into like the 90s and the 2000s. And so I'm trying to think like the stuff we've done like since then.
I don't know if I know no one's asking me, but you know, I'll give you some time to think about it. When I think of like movies I watched on movie channels, Evolution is one I saw a ton on HBO, which we have not covered yet. Maybe we'll get around to it. We have not talked about Evolution. We've talked about it plenty of times.
Not done Evolution.
I don't know. I have such a soft spot for that movie. Also Dogma. Dogma I saw a ton on a movie channel, which I guess I'm glad I did, because that movie is like impossible to find these days, and I keep hearing rumors.
It's about to not be.
I keep hearing that. That's legit. That's happening.
It was just in theaters. It was just in theaters, legitimately. Okay. Like they brought it back to theaters, so it's getting there.
Okay.
Kevin Smith got the rights back from Weinstein. They did the theatrical thing with it, and I'm pretty sure the next stage is like a new fancy 4K of it. So
cool. Cool. I'm down for that.
That's coming. It's also still free on YouTube, I think. Which is how Kevin Smith told you to watch it for the longest time. Somebody uploaded the whole movie to YouTube, but like nobody fought the
copyright.
Nobody fought the copyright, so it doesn't look like I'm seeing it now. But for the longest time, you could literally watch Dogma on YouTube for free.
I see it broken into 10 videos as a playlist, not as one.
No, there it is. You search Dogma 1999, full movie. I searched Dogma full movie. The first hit is 9 years ago, 2 hours and 8 minutes.
I'm not seeing it, but I'll continue this after the podcast. If I can find it, that movie will be added to my Plex.
If it hasn't already been done that way. I just texted it to you.
Okay,
but,
thanks.
thanks. Dogma. I'm trying to look specifically at stuff like Godzilla. I feel like I definitely saw on HBO as a kid. The '98 version. The Space Jam. The Replacements. I wouldn't necessarily say I have like strong memories of this, but I definitely know a good amount of stuff from the Williams Family Vault came from movie channels that we had. We'd get the free weekend of HBO or whatever, the free weekend of Showtime, and we'd go in and just tape stuff off of TV. That was not an uncommon thing. Very rarely did I have the I did tape Dogma off TV once, and I made sure to like edit out the commercials. Like I would stop the record when the commercials started, and then I would like literally when it would be like, and now back to Dogma, I would be like, all right, pick it back up. So that way I didn't have to watch the commercials on
Putting in the work.
It was not fun. But
who would have thought that 30 years later you would wish that you had recorded the commercials, like you had that tape and you could watch it with commercials?
Anaconda. I definitely remember watching Anaconda on movie channels as a kid a lot. Con Air, probably. National Treasure, I remember watching on movie channels a lot when I would travel for work. It felt like any time I traveled for work, National Treasure or Friday Night Lights were inevitably on TV somewhere at some channel. It was a very strange sequence there where I got a little concerned. But yeah, definitely not like I said, firm feelings I wouldn't really know. But and that stuff like Coneheads, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like a lot of those like early 90s comedies definitely there. So
yeah, it's I hate when we turn into old men on this podcast, but it's just another one of those things where like
I mean, it's
today's
only
kids,
because we perceive time as linear. Like it's it is time that's made us old, Chris, not our experience.
Okay, but it's just something that future generations don't have. And they have stuff that we don't have. It's just different. It's not better or worse, I guess. But like the idea of like, oh, I'll just see what's on. I've got 3 movie channels or however many movie channels, and I'm only sitting down and watching this movie because I have this movie channel. I'm only watching it 5 times in 1 week because I'm bored. Like it's just these are just foreign concepts in the age of streaming and today's world, and it's just weird, Andrew. We'll see how it affects these kids. What 30th anniversary movies are they going to pay too much money to go back and see for 1 weekend only or whatever? The Minecraft movie, Andrew?
Oh,
can I sound any older?
Why did you do that? I don't know why you've done this. I don't know why you've done this. I don't know. It's we've talked a lot about how it's the experience of things that has changed. It is the, it is not so much that, we're arguably in a much more, it's easier to digest films and shows and everything now than it ever has been. But the experience has changed. And yeah, it's, I don't know, man. I don't. I wonder sometimes that, it's just different. And, we were benefits of a generation where we digested content differently than the generations before us had. We grew up in a home video life. That wasn't a thing in the 60s and the 70s. I don't think people really realize that either. Like, there's this thing that all generations do where we kind of transplant our experience and just presume that everybody kind of had it that way. And millennials are kind of unique in that we kind of remember life pre and post online all the time. Like I didn't get high-speed internet. My parents didn't get high-speed internet until like 2004. So like I was like 17 still using dial-up. And it's but like, my dad growing up couldn't watch movies anytime he wanted to. He couldn't. Like, it wasn't an option for him. And so, we live in this era where we were able to do that, and now this next generation will have an even different experience than that. So it's what we're lamenting is that they won't have the experience we did.
Yeah.
The question is that good or bad?
Yeah. It's probably good. It's probably better. All right, Andrew. Let's get out of this millennial depression pity party and move on, because we have another week to look forward to, another movie and real bands month. Next week we'll be talking about the story of some kids going to see their favorite band in concert. That band being Kiss, that movie being Detroit Rock City. That's next week, and until then, just remember that maybe not every movie is great.
But all movies have greatness.
Thank you to Mark Benavides for singing our theme song. You can check him out on Instagram at NotThatMarkAnthony, and thanks to Mitch for the music. You can follow him on Blue Sky at Slavic Giant, and check our show notes for the SoundCloud link. Check out our store on TeePublic for some Best of the Rest merch, and if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. That's the only way that we grow. Follow us on social media at BOTRcast. Thank you.